What up, YouTube? So we are back again and we are gonna be filming another mukbang. And today we're actually having homemade enchiladas.
They're chicken enchiladas. So it's tortilla with chicken inside. And then it's rolled up with sauce, like an enchilada hot sauce. And then cheese on top, and I threw them in the oven. And then we have lettuce and sour cream. Because I like sour cream and lettuce on top of mine. So that's what we'll be doing, and we'll get right to it. Okay guys, so today we will be talking about embarrassing stories that have happened to us.
Yes.
Let's get started. I'll start it off kind of. See, I feel like a lot, not a lot, but maybe now that I remember, like some of my stories will have to do a lot with like farting. There's another one that also has to do with like me farting. Okay, so this happened just last year, or like 2000. No, I'm pretty sure it was 2017. I used to work for a pediatrician. He was like a pretty well-known pediatrician in our city. He used to actually be Joey's pediatrician. You know, he was older, and he kind of waddled when he walked, and he would kind of like not even fully pick up his feet, because we could hear when he was walking, because he was kind of like sliding across the carpet.
Shuffling.
Yeah. And it happened a couple of times when sometimes I would have to go in and translate. And he would be checking the patients. I don't know if he noticed it or he just flat out didn't care. But sometimes he would be walking by, or he'd be checking the patients, and we all be in the room, and he would just like, you know, be checking the patient, whatever, and would just fart. And sometimes when he would walk, like, you know, in the office, he'd just be walking casually and just like farting away. And it was something that was like funny to us, but it was, you know, it's like we didn't want to embarrass him, so we would just kind of like look at each other. To this day, I still don't know if he like, I mean, I'm sure he knew, right? Mm-hmm. And he was just like, oh, fuck it, like, I don't care.
But it's like, exactly, it's like his office, you know, he's the boss.
And he's already like older, and he's like, you know what, like, whatever.
Hold this one for nobody.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, not like an ongoing joke. It was just like funny, you know? Mm-hmm. So this is when I was in my whole like healthy lifestyle, working out before work, working out after work, eating really healthy. I started juicing. I started trying to take in more like veggies. And you know, I was trying to not do so many vitamins, since my diet became like a lot more strict. Rather than supplementing it with diets, I would juice. So I would do like kale and like all kinds of veggies, and like switch it up, and I do like ginger shots. But one of the side effects to that was it made me really gassy. And I noticed that when I was juicing, for some reason I would just be so gassy.
What would you use in your juice?
Different veggies.
Maybe it was one of the veggies.
Yeah. I know I used a lot of kale, because I had one of my mom's friends used to give her a lot of free kale. Oh, and when you just have like bunches and bunches of kale. So I did a lot of kale. I would do like beets and just like spinach, you know, whatever. Mainly veggies. Sometimes I would add in like pineapple, or like oranges or whatever. but that was one of the side effects. Like, it gave me a lot of energy, it really did. And I felt good, but I did notice that I was getting a lot more gassy. So for lunch break, there was sometimes when we would get a 2-hour lunch break. I lived not that far away from home, so I would just go home. And my coworker and I, we used to each have a key to the office so we could, you know, leave and just lock it. But we had the tendency of like waiting for each other. So, you know, she needed a couple minutes, I'd wait for her. If I needed a couple minutes, she'd wait for me. And we just kind of walk out to the parking lot together and just like get in a car and, you know, whatever. But that was always like the thing. We'd always wait for each other at lunch break and when we left for work. Unless one of us was staying late, we tried to wait for each other and walk together to the parking lot. So I remember this one time I walked behind my coworker. She's actually subscribed, shout out to Viviana. I walked and I'm sure I was the one that locked it because I was walking behind her. So there was this hallway before going to the parking lot. And I remember being so gassy, but I was like, you know what, like, I'll be in my car and I get to go home, whatever. Well, we were joking around and we were laughing, and I laughed and I farted. And it was just like, and she was walking in front of me and she just like turned around and she just started cracking up. And I was like, I am so sorry. And I felt so bad for her and so embarrassed. And she didn't know me for that long, and I was over here farting in the hallway. And then it was like, you know, in my mind I was like, this poor girl, like, first the doctor's farting all over the place, now her co-worker's farting. Like, I'm sure that's not how she plans to have her days, you know. But it was also something that I could not hold in. Like, once I started laughing, I just like, I farted. And then I just remember being like, oh my god. And I was so embarrassed. But she was really cool about it. She was like, she was laughing though. She could not hold that in. And I don't blame her. But she was like, it's okay, don't worry. Like, you're a good girl. Like, you know, nothing happened here. But, yeah. And then it was just kind of like this ongoing joke, like, where's the doctor's farting away, now you are. But it just happened one time. But I know it was because of the juicy. But whatever.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if you get to that age to where, like, you know, you're like, oh, would you still care?
I don't think so. I think it would depend where. Like, if I'm out in public, or if I'm like in church, you know, I think that no matter what age, I'll probably be like, you know, can't fart right now. But if I'm at home and it's like, it's my home, and even if I have kids, even if I have grandkids, I'm like, you know what, I know I'm your grandma, but you know, grandma can't hold it in like you can. Grandma can't run to the restroom like you can.
No, but like in the whole, like, how, like, you know, well, that's basically like, you would care.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you know how, like, you said, like, your doctor, like, didn't care anymore? Or your...
Yeah.
Would you be like that?
Probably not. I don't see myself being like that. And I don't know if there's a difference between men and women. You know, because I feel like a woman, regardless of how she might be, it's always like a little bit more embarrassing when a girl farts. You know what I mean? And I think that's, I don't know why that is. Or I don't know, maybe that's just me and I would be like embarrassed, even though obviously it's happened throughout my life and it's a natural thing and sometimes you really can't hold it in, you know. But I think to an extent I would care. But if it gets to the point where like I can't help it,
you can't control it.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what, it is what it is. Right? Would you care?
No. Yeah, sometimes I do it in public. Like when we're at the store.
Oh, but they're like the silent ones, right?
No, I had the symphony one.
Really?
Yeah. See, I was just so good at it to hide it that you don't hear them.
No, I really have never heard you fart at the store.
I even tell you, I farted. He was like, baby! Like, well. I'd rather lose a friend than a gut.
True.
So, I mean, to me, it's like, why should you be embarrassed? It's something normal. Like, it's something that everyone does, something everyone goes through.
Yeah.
And it's something that your body just naturally does.
Why is it so funny though?
I don't know, but
why
it is pretty
are farts
funny.
funny?
I don't know. Okay.
Actually, yes. I don't know why, but I'll just start it off with like a little story. Like I remember, you know back in the 90s how like there was like different types of workouts that were like all the trend and whatever, and like those really colorful like
spandex.
Yes. So I remember being little, and my mom had me pretty young. She had me when she was 18, I believe. So you know, most of my childhood, like now thinking back at it, my mom was in her early 20s, like her 20s, you know. I mean, when I turned 10, she was still in her 20s. So now thinking back at it, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it makes sense. You know, she had her little friends and whatever, and they used to go work out. And I remember, like, she would take this class, like, in the afternoons, and she'd have me go with her, and I was still, like, relatively small to where, like, I couldn't be working out with them. Like, they wouldn't let me, but they'd let me watch. But they would let me do like the stretches or the cool downs, because those were like easy and whatever, and like I couldn't get hurt. I remember one time, and this is the only reason why I think I actually remember this, or like I don't know, because I know I was pretty young. But I remember we were doing the cool down. Well, they were doing the cool down, and so I knew like, oh, that's my time to come in. And you know, I was like laying down. I remember being on a little mat, and I just remember, like, I remember vividly all the like the bright colors of everybody's like workout outfits, because I remember looking around being so embarrassed and everybody's just like cracking up. So we were doing this stretch and I stretched a little too hard and I farted in front of the whole class. And I remember my place was kind of like in the middle of the class, and my mom just started laughing, and I was so embarrassed and like, oh my god. And the class kind of echoed a little bit because I remember, and I just remember being so embarrassed and like on the floor and everyone just like laughing. And the instructor was like, it's okay, like you don't have to worry, it's normal, it's natural. I just remember telling my mom, like, can we go home? I really want to go home now.
Did you go back?
I think we did, but I think after that I was like a little shy to do any of the workouts or like the cooling down or whatever they allowed me to do. But yeah, I accidentally farted when I was really young. I don't even remember the age, but next time I see my mom, I'll ask her. Because I'm sure she remembers that.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. What's the story that you got?
Well, mine happened when I literally turned 21. And so my friend took me out to go drinking for my 21st birthday. So I was like, all right, I'm down. So we ended up going to Ventura on Main Street, and we hit up a couple bars and stuff. And so the plan was that we were gonna go back to Lake Casitas to hang out, like to keep drinking, hang out and stuff.
That's like a camping spot, right?
Yeah, camping spot. And so we went back. I was already I was drunk, and we got in, and he just dropped me off, and he took off, and I was hanging out with his little sister. Well, yeah, his little sister, and then like other friends that I had there. And so we ended up going to this little store that's inside the park, and I really needed to go pee, like bad. So I was drunk, and I just went to the front of the car and like started, going to the restroom. And then right when I was like doing it, one of the
like a park ranger?
A park ranger was driving by, and he saw me. But it was already like nighttime and stuff, and like I don't know how he saw me, I don't know, because it was dark where I was at. And he was passing by, and then he just threw his lights and then went up the little hill and parked. And then he was asking me like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, blah blah blah. Like, why are you like using the restroom, or like, peeing out here?
Right.
And so I was like, honestly, sir, like, I'm drunk. It's my 21st birthday. And then he goes like, let me see your ID. So I showed him my ID, and yeah, it was literally like on my birthday. And then he's like, oh, like, we're gonna let this one slide because it's your birthday. If not, we would have taken you in. And I was like, all right, cool. And then they ended up just like giving me like a ticket. But like once the cops left, like everybody started cracking up. They were like, oh, we can't believe you did that. Like, what the hell? And so yeah, that was my embarrassing moment.
You're right though, but it's kind of like, I don't know. And I think like I always like to be like devil's advocate, and a lot of times you're like really, like, even if I agree with you, I like to give out the other point of view,
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't. Well, yeah, the other point of view is like to be courteous and all that. And, But I mean, like, why?
I don't know.
Why do people apologize when they fart?
Maybe because we've always been taught. Now this is getting deep. But maybe because we've always been taught, like, that's something that like you don't do in public. That's something that's like embarrassing. You are taught that that's something that's embarrassing.
But what?
For instance, when it happened to me when I was little.
Good. Okay.
It's
I need more soda.
Yeah, it's like if nobody would have laughed at me, I probably wouldn't have been embarrassed. Because at that time, it didn't really click. Like, that's not something you do in public, or that's not whatever. But because I got that reaction, it's like everybody started laughing. And they're laughing at you, and you look around and everyone's just looking at you laughing. It's like, without anybody having to tell you, you're just taught that that's something that's funny, but in a way that it's funny because it's embarrassing you. Like, nobody had to tell me like, oh, that's funny that you farted and it sounded like that. It's like, no, I was able to look around and observe that people were laughing at me. Had nobody laughed, I would have been like, okay, and I probably would have done it again, thinking like you said, it's a natural thing that happens to everybody. You know?
The thing that I don't understand is, okay, as kids, we were taught, you know, do not fart in public, have manners, or like go hide somewhere to fart. Why?
I think it's just that courtesy, and because sometimes not all farts are like, you know, nice, I guess, and not all farts don't
smell like flowers.
Yeah, you know, it's like reality is, and I'm sorry that you know that, but reality is, whether you're a guy or you're a girl, sometimes you can fart and they will smell really nasty. And it's like, for instance, you know, if we had a guest over and they decided like, well, it's a natural thing or whatever, I'm just gonna fart away, and we're over here eating and it smells gross, you know, that's not something you want to experience while you're having dinner. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's something completely different if even one of us right now decided to fart and it smelled really bad. It'd be like, hey, you know, like, I know we're talking about it, I know it's natural, but that's not something I really want to experience while I'm having dinner. You know? And I think it's also different. Like, let's say we went to a public place, and I think a kid, you can kind of forgive it, but a full-grown adult just decided to fart and it smelled bad. Even if you're not eating, you're probably like, damn, dude, like, I really don't want to smell your farts, you know? So I think out of courtesy for others, that's why you're taught not to do it. Right? And it's like, well, if your parents don't teach you that, then what else are they not teaching you? What else do you think is appropriate? That society or people in general just might not see it as appropriate, but you just weren't taught any better, so you just like...
So just because a fart has a bad smell, that's why you're taught not to fart?
Well, I think it's the whole association, like it smells like, you know.
So if a fart didn't smell, you could fart in public?
That's a good question. I don't know. What do you think?
We're talking about it. I'm not asking you directly. I'm just, it's something to think about. So if a fart didn't smell,
I think it would just be like a little more forgivable, and then at that point it's when it becomes kind of like, you know, funny.
But why would it have to be more forgivable?
I don't know if the right word is forgivable, but it's like, I'm just thinking about myself, like, okay, if we're out like at the mall and somebody farts, I'm thinking, this is the scenario that I have in my head. I'm at the mall, you know, kind of when you're like, not in a particular store, but you're like at the strip or whatever. And you know how sometimes they have like benches? This is the scenario that I have. Like, I'm sitting at a bench at the mall. It's a public place. There's a lot of people around us. And I'm thinking like a grown adult walks or sits by me, or like at the bench next to me or behind me. Yeah. And they decide to fart. Within this scenario, there's two scenarios. They either fart and I can hear it, but you can't smell anything, or they fart and it might not be as loud, but it smells like, you know, yeah. Then it's like, you know, the way that I see it is like, okay, you know, maybe because I've been through it and it happened where I couldn't really hold it, because that fart, when I farted, you heard it, but I know there wasn't a smell. It was just, I was just gassy. And I don't know if it's because I've been through it, where like sometimes you really can't hold it and it's just like one innocent fart or whatever. But the way I'm thinking about it is like, okay, well, maybe they just farted and that's what happened. But then you think of the other situation where it's like, well, maybe they farted and it smells like really, really bad. And you're like, whoa, you know, this is not what I came to do at the mall.
Smell farts.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, you can understand it if someone has like some type of issue or whatever, but if they're just doing it because it's a natural thing, it's like, yes, it is a natural thing, but you also have to be considerate of others. You know, not everybody wants to be smelling your farts. Even as husband and wife, I'm sure you don't want to be smelling my farts, and I don't want to be smelling yours. Yes, it's natural.
But mine don't smell.
Sometimes they do. So I understand what you're saying, but I think it just comes down to being considerate of others. You know, like, just like other people might not want to be smelling your farts, you probably don't want to be smelling other people's farts either. And I think it's that whole, like, our body is just kind of like tells us, because if you think about it, like, this is going a little more, but you know, when you poop, like as a kid, when you poop, your body naturally tells you, like, that's a no-no. Like, you don't go touch it, you don't go grab it, and your body naturally just kind of like makes you like, gives you like a gagging reaction, right? Yeah. So it's like, that's just what your body naturally tells you since you're little. Does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to say, like, because it has that kind of connection, especially if it has a smell.
Yeah, but it's one thing to just smell it, and it's another thing to see it and wanting to touch it. But I understand what you're saying.
And dear Valerie and Jojo, I do not want to see any comments of no story time. Okay. So we're back. Our video got cut short because we were running out of memory, but we were almost done anyway. So it went from like embarrassing stories to what would he say?
Why should be embarrassed of a fart?
Yeah. And yeah. But we are both really full, and we ate almost the entire thing of enchiladas, and we have about this much left, which will be good for lunch for tomorrow. So we're gonna cut it short here. I know it was I know it was a shorter video than last time, but it is a weekday. We do both work tomorrow, and you know, we just wanted to do something fun. But if you have any suggestions for anything else that you guys want us to talk about, or any like challenges or anything that you would like us to do, go ahead and comment below, and you know, we'll be checking the comments and seeing what you guys ask or what you guys suggest. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys next time. Go ahead and leave us a comment, like, subscribe, make sure to turn on your notification, go ahead and share it with all your friends so we could be one big old happy family, subscriber family.
Yeah,
you know,
the more the merrier.
Yes, but this is so far has been a lot of fun. We've been really enjoying making videos.
Yeah, and
we continue to keep going at it, and we hope that you come along to see where our channel grows into. So until next time, bye guys.